Hey guys, this is Doug with Fellowship of the Martyrs, coming to you from Liberty, Missouri. I'm making a video. I'm going to try and keep this as short as possible. I'm a little casual tonight. It's pretty hot, so apologize for all the skin I'm showing. Try not to get all excited. I'm doing a video talking about a common misconception that the atheists are on this category. There's two kinds of atheists: those that believe Jesus existed as a real person and historically was a person, although they'll disagree about whether he really said all those things, and certainly that he didn't do all those things. And then there's the ones that say Jesus didn't even exist at all. He's totally fictional. He never existed. Now, the point of the video kind of is that ought to be a settled issue. I mean, I understand that the atheist religion has its denominations and that within themselves they are fractured and they have chosen this or that high priest to follow. And that is the natural state of religion. That's why I hate religion and I want no part of it. Because anytime you set man as your head, they're going to just eventually go sour or make it about them or disagree with this other man, or the second command doesn't get promoted like he wants to, and then they start feuding, and then you've got the fundamental reorganized Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints that has its one true prophet, but because he didn't get promoted into the job and stuff like that. So it's no different with the religion of atheism. So Richard Dawkins, who seems to be the Pope of the largest block of atheists out there, has clearly said that he believes Jesus was a real person. In fact, he likes Jesus. He really goes out of his way to say how great Jesus is. I'm going to put a video clip of him saying that here in a few minutes, and him referencing an article that he wrote in 2006 called Atheists for Jesus, and even showing him in a t-shirt that says Atheists for Jesus. I got the clip on there under fair use rules. Let me read you a little a paragraph toward the end of this article. He talks about how radical Jesus was, and how not like his time and not like the Old Testament Jewish situation at the time. And he says, "I'm no mimetic engineer, and I have very little idea how to increase the numbers of the super nice and spread their memes around the meme pool. The best I can offer is what I hope may be a catchy slogan: Atheists for Jesus would grace a t-shirt. There is no strong reason to choose Jesus as icon rather than some other role model from the ranks of the super nice, such as Mahatma Gandhi, not the odiously self-righteous Mother Teresa, heavens no. I think we owe Jesus the honor of separating his genuinely original and radical ethics from the supernatural nonsense which he inevitably espoused as a man of his time. And perhaps the oxymoronic impact of Atheists for Jesus might be just what is needed to kickstart the meme of super niceness in a post-Christian society. If we play our cards right, could we lead society away from the nether regions of its Darwinian origins into kinder and more compassionate uplands of post-singularity enlightenment?" Now, on the one hand, he pushes for Darwinian evolution of society, which is totally self-interested. The whole point is, I may be nice to you, but only because I can get something out of it. And when somebody is nice to someone that can't, to a homeless guy or someone that has no hope of paying them back, he describes it as a misfire. You can the little clip that I've got of this article, of this video, you can go and search YouTube and find the entire article, the entire interview, where he basically says that any true niceness is simply a misfire, an aberration of Darwinian societal evolution, and yet he argues that we should somehow misfire more. We should somehow encourage the best and those with the least self-interest to do more of that, because presumably Otherwise, you're going to devolve into complete selfish war, which is what we've seen with Stalinism and everything else. He argues against. He acknowledged Stalin was an atheist, by the way, but describes Stalin's desire to kill all Christians as a religion, and therefore he can distance himself from it as a good atheist, because no good atheist would kill people in the furtherance of their anti-religious views. So, anyway, I'm making this video mostly, I want to point out to the atheists out there that are saying Jesus was a fictional character, he was a figment of somebody's imagination, he didn't exist. Well, for one thing, he fulfilled 300 prophecies from hundreds of years before about him, and even your high priest, Richard Dawkins, acknowledges that he was a real person, and not only that, that he was an admirable real person. Even when you strip all the miracles away and say, okay, that stuff was added, nonetheless, nobody would have even thought of saying things this radical. Turn the other cheek, go the extra mile, forgive 70 times 7, love your enemies. Unless there was a real person, who we historically know that he actually existed, unless there was a real person, how could these things have even come about? No William Shakespeare type author just drew up this character. This is so radical that there had to have been a person behind it, and historically we know that he actually existed. So Richard Dawkins, at least given credit for not being so blind and stupid as to actually argue that Jesus was a fictional construct. So I'll give him that. I look forward to some opportunity at some point in the future, maybe to get to talk to Richard Dawkins and see what happens. Maybe when it's time for us to go on a big crusade to Africa and see people getting healed and delivered to demons and who knows what, maybe we'll just invite him along and see what he thinks of the whole thing. I don't know. We'll see. Anyway, I'd encourage you to read his article, not because he makes a lot of sense. He's clearly coming from a totally religious, myopic viewpoint, and in fact, he has a red dragon. If you read my book about that, you'll understand that you can be under a delusion, which he says everybody is except him. You can be under a delusion and be absolutely obsessed about something to the point where you miss the really important, obvious other things. Now, he has an anti-God red dragon. He's spending his time and his days chasing a God he says doesn't exist, which means he's completely following God in the sense that he's chasing God around, trying to kill God everywhere he goes, and yet he says this God doesn't exist. So, it keeps him from seeing any evidence to the contrary. It keeps him from, if you ask, what about miracles? What about people that have seen this? What about, oh, gosh. To even suggest such a thing to me is ridiculous. Well, let's discuss the scientific. Oh, no. It just can't be. That's too easy to create something like that. That's too easy to manufacture. The stories that Jesus did, oh, no. It's beyond even thinkable. That's no different than the pastors that I talk to going, oh, no, this is just the way we've always done it, and we can't possibly change, and this is just the way it is, and this is the way it's always done, and we don't care what the Bible actually says, or if the gifts of the Spirit are real and for today or whatever. That just can't, we can't even consider the implications of going that far down that road. A lot of people that I talk to that say they're Christians are actually deists at best, and more likely atheists with a little bit of hope, but they aren't in actual relationship with a living God who is by nature supernatural. Anyway, I'm gonna snip in this video from Richard Dawkins, and I hopefully I'm trying to use your own sources, your own experts, and Richard Dawkins knows better than to argue the case that Jesus was mythological, okay? That he was not a real person. And I would encourage other atheists out there to not come at me with that, because it's just fairly stupid. and uneducated and whatever. I'd also encourage atheists to not come at me if you haven't ever actually read the Bible. If you're going to dismiss it as stupid based on the quotes that you've heard other people talk about it, but you've never actually read the most popular book in all of human history, and by the way, the second most popular book in all of history is Pilgrim's Progress by Paul Bunyan. You might want to read that too. I don't know that atheists would get it, but I think it would really be valuable and has been valuable to tens of thousands, millions of Christians all over the world in all kinds of languages. So if you haven't read Pilgrim's Progress, I'd encourage you to do that. And try not to just read a comic book or watch the video, animation or something, but actually read the book and struggle through a little bit of the Old English, but I think it would be a blessing to you. Okay, anyway, so that's all for now. That's really just the main point of the video, is to lead you up into this little snippet of Richard Dawkins. And not because I think he's an expert witness. I think he's a blind, wretched, naked, and poor, highly educated boob. And I say that with love and with real sincere hopes that God would miraculously get a hold of him so he could be persecuted by all the atheists that were following him lovingly beforehand, because there's a whole lot of atheists that are under a Richard Dawkins red dragon and follow him wherever he goes, believing whatever he says without actually any thought or introspection. And if you removed the head of that red dragon, they'd either find a new one or the whole thing might just collapse into chaos. So he's a prime target. So I encourage everybody to, if you want to take the war to the enemy, start praying really sincerely that Richard Dawkins would have a supernatural encounter with the Almighty God and get saved, and really turn his life over to the Lord and see what that does to the academic community. Anyway, that's all for now. Lots more at the website, fellowshipofthemartyrs.com. God bless you.
Yes.
Was Jesus, in your mind, a deluded figure?
No, I doubt it. I mean, we know so little about him because you can't rely upon the Gospels. I suspect that Jesus, in his own time, was a great teacher, a great moralist. His moral values were way ahead of his time. I think he was an admirable. I mean, that's why I wrote an article called "Atheists for Jesus," and somebody gave me a T-shirt with "Atheists for Jesus" written on.